Hey everyone, welcome to this week's birth series. Today we are going over one of my other favorites, cord around the neck births. So before we go into this, just know, please don't shoot the messenger, okay? I'm just here to help people through. It might not feel good when I go over this stuff, so just notice what gets activated in the body while we dive into this, and just take a few deep breaths while we go over possible programming from cord around the neck births. I like going over this type of birth because it's kind of dark. There was something going on while you were in the womb that wasn't making you feel safe. And I hate to say it, but the baby is slowly starting to wrap itself up and check out of here. So maybe the parents were fighting, which is normal. A lot of people fight. Okay. This work is not to blame. Disclaimer, this is not to blame at all. But maybe the baby didn't feel safe. Maybe the baby didn't feel wanted, or it was like, should I stay? Should I go? It just depends on the trauma and drama that was circulating around the baby. I have done breathwork sessions with people who, let's say, in the beginning, the parents got together because they got pregnant and they were thinking about aborting the baby. And they went back and forth for a while. And then the baby was born 9 months later, and there were knots in the umbilical cord. It was barely getting any air. That baby was born on the smaller side, but that's just kind of, things that can happen. That's just one little story. Another story is, you've got fighting or you've got stuff going on while the baby's in there. And it's like just wrapping itself up, wrapping. Maybe it comes out super purple and bluish, not breathing at all. So just notice what your body's doing. Take a few deep breaths in and give yourself some love and support while we go over possible programming for cord around the neck births. And I know it's intense. I know it's intense to be like, you mean to tell me that I was wrapping myself up and I was going to commit suicide while I was in the womb? Well, you can be the judge of that. If you've had a lot of thoughts or fear or deep thinking about death and how you're going to die, people who were born with a cord around their neck, they have more death thoughts, more scenarios playing out in their head of all the different ways they could die. There's just a lot of death energy, okay? And that's not a good or a bad thing. It's just, it's just up to you. But if you ever wondered why you think a certain way, or why does this always pop up, it could be from your birth. So possible programming. In order to survive in the world, I have to nearly die. Oof, that's a big one. That's a deep one. Suicide attempt by the baby. Why were you trying to do this? So if you can figure out, what was going on while you were in the womb that maybe could have been stressing you out, it'll help. There's something about talking with our moms and dads and being like, what was it like for you when I was in the womb? Like, how were you doing? What was going on with you? When you hear and when you can empathize with what your parents went through while you were in the womb, it gently dissolves something that you're holding on to. Maybe a deep burden. Maybe it wasn't a good time for your parents. Maybe it was. Whatever it was, it doesn't matter. It's part of you coming into this world. It's part of it. And our birth was perfect. But it'll help to lift any burdens or guilt, deep fear that your body might be carrying or might be holding on to. So what was going on around the time before birth? Wrong sex, unwanted, death of someone in the family, that can be a big one. If someone dies and the baby feels it, the baby feels the grief, the sadness, it just kind of swirls into the energy and starts wrapping itself up. They might have a strong death or suicide urge. So just take note, any thoughts of suicide while you were growing up, confusion between life and death, hate anything around the neck. And then sometimes, I see people with, something choking them. So it could be the exact opposite also. And I'll be like, girl, were you born with a cord around your neck? Like you have that thing like strapped on your neck. Or, even while we're talking about this, notice what your neck does. I've been in many groups where we go over this part of the birth, and they start getting really red around their neck. The body is always talking to us. It'll let you know if you had the cord around your neck or not. Cut off from emotions in the head. Tendency to self-sabotage. They tend to create life-threatening situations. That is a big one for cord around the neck births. I've seen many people with that swirly, life-threatening type pattern in their life. They are very sensitive to feelings of being choked. Intimacy can be risky business. Often they don't like their ties too tight around their neck. Often they feel strangled in relationships. That's a big one for cord around the neck births. They do well in crisis situations. Often they feel cut off from their emotions. They often say, "This is killing me," when they feel most alive. There might be a pattern of a lot of entanglements. So again, it's like that swirly entanglement energy. I mean, that's how you came into the world, is being wrapped up. And so like this killing off type energy. So the good news is I made a brand new breathwork download guided meditation for cord around the neck births that will help to bring more ease, more joy, more aliveness. It's safe to live without death. So if you kind of came into this world with this death energy, you could attract it a lot later on in life. So it just depends what you want to create. Do you want to create more aliveness? Do you want to create healthier relationships where it's not so entangled? It just depends on you. So this guided breathwork session will really help you to feel safe, loved, and supported. And breathwork is one of the fastest ways to help you heal your birth trauma. You can go to the link in my bio under birth series, or you can go to breathewithkimberlyrose.com under shop and then click on birth series, and you will find your birth there.